My brother was a fucking dick. Hello everyone, I'm Catatouille101, and I used to fall for stupid lies my brother told me. Anyone who has an older sibling has probably fallen victim to at least one lie they were told for no other reason than their older sibling's amusement. I personally fell for a lot more than one, probably more like 30. Saying I was gullible is putting it lightly. For example, there was a short time when I was a little kid that I refused to eat white rice. That's because my brother told me that there was a fuzzy in every box of white rice. You know, like one of those little carpet fuzzies, or one of those fuzzies that people are always offering to pick off of your shirt. And I believed him, the genius that I was. I didn't want to accidentally eat a fuzzy, or God forbid, eat a piece of rice that had been touched by a fuzzy, because now the whole box has been contaminated by fuzzy germs. And now, even years later, it's not white rice that I'm traumatized by. No, it's fuzzies. To this day, I hate those blankets with like the fringe on the end because they're covered in little fuzzies. If somebody says that I have a fuzzy on my shirt, I'll react like there's a giant ass bug on me. And hey, don't take it personally if you're waiting for me to get in your car and I'm just standing out there going like, it's not you, it's me. I have an irrational hatred of fuzzies. All this, and they weren't even near my rice in the first place. But you know, one day, there's gonna be a fuzzy in my white rice, and my brother is gonna be all, I warned you. You wanna know what else I was traumatized by as a kid from my brother's lies? I used to have a tree in my backyard that dropped these little squiggly things, which, after a short Google search, discovered they are called catkins. Let me tell you, they are not cute at all like you'd expect the kin of a cat to be. They were fucking ugly. They looked like these big, fuzzy caterpillars, and you probably know where this is going. I wouldn't go out back if that tree was dropping those things, and it would piss off my mom so much. But you know, it was my brother's fault because he's the one who told me that they were bugs, and of course I was too stupid to see that they weren't. The worst was when I'd be already back there playing on my swing set having a good time, and then my brother would come up to me and he'd just point to the ground and he'd be like, "Hey Katie, what's that?" And there it would be. Just one of them was enough to make me scream and jump off my swing at full height and book it back into the house. So bugs are a pretty normal thing to be freaked out by, but so were jelly beans, right? At my mom's old house, she had this insanely old heater in the room that my brother and I slept in when we would stay the night. You'd hear these small clanking sounds coming from inside the heater. Clank, 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 clank. These were the jelly beans hiding inside the heater that were just waiting for one of us to get out of bed so they could launch an attack on us. Or so I had been told. So I'd be all, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'll be right back. And my brother would be like, wait, did you hear that? Oh shit, it's the jelly beans. So out of fear, I'd wait in bed under my covers, just waiting for the jelly beans to stop clanking around. Meanwhile, I'm holding in my pee, about to die from bladder failure. But I didn't want to be killed by the mutant jelly beans that lived in the heaters. So when everything quieted down, I'd run to the bathroom as quickly as I could before the jelly beans started up again. The worst thing that ever happened was when I was coming back from the bathroom one time. I was in the middle of the hallway, and I heard the jelly beans start jumping around. So I sprinted full speed back to my bed. Meanwhile, my brother's like, Katie, the jelly beans, they're back, they're gonna get you, get back into bed. Whew, man, if you thought that was the most intense thing I ever had to deal with, get a load of this next story. At my shore house, we used to have this rickety old shed that would leak and rust the things that were inside. I don't know why it took us so long to replace the thing, but whatever. It was old enough that it would get rust stains on everything, including the beach towels. It would get these nasty orange puke stains all over the beach towels. And I mean, we washed them so they were clean, but I'll stand by it today, they still looked pretty gross. However, my brother convinced me that these stains would actually stick to you if you sat on them or leaned back on them. And it would only be worse if you were covered in sand and water from the beach. I mean, that only made you more susceptible to the stains. Now, most of the time, my brother would find us some clean towels, some non-stainy towels to sit on to keep us safe. But by the end of the week, we were all out of the clean towels, and Mom would force us to sit on the stainy towels. Normally, we'd just walk up the street to the bay, but sometimes we'd drive over to the ocean if the bay was looking all skanky because it was low tide. So we'd have to put the towels over our seats to keep the sand out of the car. My brother would try to strategically find parts of the towel that weren't covered in stains, so we would sit there. But you couldn't always avoid the stains that were on the part of the towel that you rest your back on. Those are the tricky ones. So my brother and I would be sitting like this for like 30 fucking minutes, all the way there, all the way back. My god, it was even worse on the drive back because you'd be all covered in sunscreen, sand, you were all sticky, and you'd have a stain like this close to touching your back. Meanwhile, Mama would be bitching at us like, would you two knock it off? There's nothing wrong with those towels. You two are being so stupid. No, Mama, you don't understand. I'm not taking advice from someone who eats expired cream cheese. Tom said, these stains are going to stick to me. It was probably the most intense thing I ever had to deal with as a child. My brother also convinced me that it was important to have bug drills when we went swimming at the pool every so often. A bug drill is what we would practice if something like a bee or a dragonfly would start to attack us if we were standing on the outside of the pool, or what we would do if said bug happened to fall into the pool while we were in it. So he'd issue these in-pool and out-of-pool bug drills every so often when we went swimming. So if we were in the pool, he would point to the bug that's now waterlogged and slowly coming towards us, and this is the signal that we agreed upon. We'd have to drop whatever we were doing and get out of that pool as quickly as possible. Now, if you were outside of the pool, even if you were all dried off, if you heard you were getting the fuck back in that pool unless you wanted to get stung by a wasp. And you had to stay underwater for at least 10 seconds just to make sure it was safe. You know, in all the years we went swimming at that pool, I think we only had to issue one real bug drill out of all the hundreds of fake drills that we issued. Now, the beach was a different story. The bay was dangerous because you didn't know what was lurking in there because the water's all like shitty and cloudy. He even gave me permission to use the song if I spotted a jellyfish or a horseshoe crab because these situations were too dangerous to handle alone. These situations were a matter of life or death. Now, I'm an old coot who grew up in a time where kids didn't have iPads and smartphones, so my brother and I would entertain ourselves at the grocery store by making the groceries on the shelves talk to me, and he'd make them, like, beg me to take them home. Hey Katie, I'm a can of SpaghettiOs, don't you want to buy me? We ended up doing this at any store we went to, actually, and there was this one event at the thrift store. Now, this is a story that I have kept to myself for all these years. I don't even think I've told my parents or my boyfriend about this because I've felt so guilty about it for all of these years. But the truth is coming out today. My brother knew that I had a soft spot for inanimate objects like playground balls and marbles. Like, I would treat them like they were my pet and give them walks by bouncing them around the trail. Don't ask, we've already established I was a weird-ass kid. And at the thrift shop, there was this little bag of these little colorful rubber marbles, which one could easily walk right up to and slip right out of the netting. So my brother, being the dick that he was, started making one of the marbles talk to me and beg me to take him home. Oh, Katie, please take me home. It's so stinky in here. I want to come home with you. So at first I was like, stop it, I'm not gonna steal something. I bet you can guess what I did 10 minutes later. At the last minute, when we were getting ready to leave, we came across the bag of marbles again. And this time my brother wasn't even egging me on, but his words had been resonating with me the entire time we were at the thrift shop. He had actually convinced me that this marble loved me so much and wanted me to steal him and take him home, and I just felt so bad for him. So I made sure no one was looking, and I grabbed the marble and I stuffed it in my shoe and I stole it. I did it. I confess, I stole a marble from the thrift shop. But in my defense, I did it out of the goodness of my heart. And a big fucking lie from my brother that still haunts me to this day. I don't even know where that marble is now. You know, I kinda deserved this shit. Who else would have been stupid enough to believe half this crap?